No. Sunset Grill, where?
Right there.
Oh,
famous all-day breakfast that isn't open at 6 o'clock.
This is ridiculous. There is nowhere, absolutely nowhere for breakfast. Finally, man, finally. Just opened the door. Where are we going today, Jeff?
Fluorite collecting.
Fluorite collecting. Good. Well said. Very politically stated. Fluorite, we're at Smitty's right now. Very expensive breakfast, but quite good. So we're at the Keene Road Park and Ride just outside of Peterborough. Today where we're going to need a lot of water. It just gets really hot. Basically what we're doing is we're hitting the great fluorite rift that runs across the top of Moira Lake, various random spots, not always necessarily to be named. Always check stuff out with aerial photos. What's that one you got there? Another map. In your hand. Right hand.
I don't know. George
okay. So there's a map there. See these kind of lines with little squares in them, that just kind of indicates the direction of the fissure. And of course, as I've said before, the fissures seem to sort of follow each other and then jog to the side and jog to the side, and then it gives 50 meters and starts up again. So all the mines are lined up against the fissures. That's all. The fissure is just one huge sort of rift across the top of Moira Lake. That's where, and obviously the fluorites move from deep down below. Town of Madoc, situated over that fissure. I guess I used the wrong word before. Don't take my literal meaning of rift, which is some sort of a tectonic thing. It's actually just cracks going down to the Pluton below. So this is pretty cool. This is a karst pavement. We're just north of Moira Lake, and we've actually, look at this, we've actually got permission from the landowner to go and look at the old mines on their property. They don't seem to know very much about it, but the lady said her ancestors were miners, and one of the gentlemen we were talking to, I guess it was a real hot commodity as a flux with the metals during World War II, but right after that they moved to Mexico, the mining of the fluorite. So, I mean, there's definitely a crevice that's been worked on. That's a rock taken out of it. So here we go. Here's our clue. This fluorite, actually, it looks maybe more like barite, actually right crusted against the wall here coming up. So I think we're in the right spot. It's going this way. Good chance maybe it was mined all along here. Poke around a bit more, see if we can find some clues. Yeah, so as I say, barite is lining the very outer edges of these fissures, and the fissures came up in this sort of surface skin of limestone that overlies the area. I believe it's Ordovician age limestone, which is the oldest limestone in the area, at least in Ontario. And so from way down, somewhere down below, a large hump, a molten hump welled up from deep within the earth, that being the Pluton, and it's superheated water. There's a huge flow of water coming down from the north side of Moira Lake. Nobody really seems to know where it comes from, and I'm not sure how deep it is flowing because it fills in all the mines. But I wouldn't be surprised it's just basically percolating straight through the karst pavement. It's going to take the water down deep and fast, and that may well be where the water comes from that fills the mines to the north end of this lake. On the south side of the lake, no water in the mines whatsoever, a noise mine, whatever, right? So anyway, as I say, we're looking around. I'm suspecting that the fissure that was dug was running in this direction just based on this wall that I see. So behind me you can see, looks like they made a cross cut at 90-degree angle to what I would imagine was the main fissure, trying to go inwards. Not sure what they were following, but you can see the debris field scattered out in front of me out into the forest. It drops away quite rapidly over the edge there. So here I find in this little valley, obviously again a cut inwards, goes under into quite a cavernous sort of opening. I can feel a cold breeze coming out. That'll be the inside of the mine. Again, I believe the fissure's running across. Here's a good example of almost an accident. So I'm walking along the ridge line here, and I get to here, and I stood on this rock and almost went down. That's the bottom of the fissure. Gets a heck of a lot deeper further down that way and in that direction. I got a feeling if this was not the mine, it's definitely a fissure that would contain the fluorite, but I think it is the mine, right? It's all along this edge. Super interesting though, I must admit, but hey, you got to be so careful in these areas. So here we are. This is some real primo stuff in a vein. Already I'm finding fluorite. What have you found?
Sitting on the ground, man.
Just sitting on the ground. That's beautiful. There's another beautiful piece. Look at that. Whoa. There's a cross-hatching of barite on lovely green fluorite crystals. I think I'm keeping that one. Look at that, eh? Crystal faces, fluorite. Not very green, of course. It's more of a sort of a amber color, but still lovely.
Let's see what we got here.
What are you looking at? Oh, nice. So when we're saying the isometric crystal system, something that typifies it is that a light ray that normally passes into a crystal, it can split in two directions, and the degree to which it splits is in part related to the refraction and what they call the birefringence, which is the degree to which the light rays separate. The isometric crystal system, of which spinel, diamond and fluorite and garnet are all part of, it doesn't happen. The light ray stays as a single ray. It refracts as it goes in other words it bends, and leaves as a single ray as well. So in a case where they've done hand cobbing, in other words taking the fluorite off the rock and separating the fluorite, sending it to the mine, leaving the rocks within the dumps, one of the better places to look for the minerals, you know pretty well they have to take the stuff out from the mine. So you want to know the route they use. They could have gone up behind me onto the escarpment, or they could have gone down in this direction towards the lake. Or maybe I'm disorientated, don't know which, but either way, as that cart goes over bumps, around corners that piled it high, you've probably got debris spilling over. Sometimes it's quality stuff. So oftentimes if you follow the old paths in the area and look along the edges, especially where there's a big bump or a rock in the way where the cart had to go over it, you're going to find stuff that's spilled out, usually better quality than what you find in the dumps themselves. That's it. We're done for the day. We're tired. Long drive back to Guelph and Hamilton for Jeff. I believe it'll probably be the last video I do from Guelph because I'm moving up to a place called Milverton shortly. Bought a new house there. It's not a new house, it's actually very old, but it's kind of nice.